Good evening. At the international level, export and import is very common. Meaning, countries will import goods and services, and the countries will export goods and services. So, this is a common scenario throughout the world. If some countries are not exporting, at least they are importing. What are you importing and what are you exporting? This is related to the goods and services, meaning goods and services can be imported, goods and services can be exported. But during this scenario, what happens? There is also an exchange of money. But sometimes what may happen, if a countries this imports is equal to exports, so then that is considered to be the balance of trade. But sometimes what may happen, the value the value of the total trade, meaning that of goods and services of a country's imports, exceeds that of exports. That is called current account deficit. So, which is really a dangerous scenario if it exceeds a particular limit. And for the year 2022, there is a serious warning for India from a global agency called S&P. S&P stands for Standards and Poor, and it has given a report saying that if the barrel crude value exceeds $150, $150, that is going to increase India's current accounts deficit to more than 5% of its GDP. This CAD, current account deficit, is calculated in the form of percentage within GDP. So now this is very much under control. But if the crude oil price is going to be beyond a particular limit, then India's CAD is going to be above 5%. So this is a serious warning, and the government has to take measures for this. And I am going to show you the document related to this. Kindly have a look at this. CAD stands for current account deficit, and I explained you what is the meaning of the CAD. India's CAD expanded to 2.7% of the GDP in December quarter from 1.3% in September quarter on the account of the higher import bill, meaning India is importing more than the exports. So it was 1.3% of GDP in September last year, but it has been increased to 2.7% of the GDP in December. Now, if you look at India's CAD, it could shoot up above 5%. It could shoot up, right? 5% of the GDP in 2022 if the global crude oil prices touches $150 per barrel. This is how the fluctuations of the crude oil, it is going to create a lot of impact on various countries, and India is one of the important countries in the world which is importing larger crude oil. This is going to be affecting India very badly. According to S&P global ratings, this would make the country vulnerable to capital flights. We calculate what 2022 current account balance would be if the only change this year is the world oil price of $150 per barrel. Meaning, according to this, in a simple scenario, the 2022 current account deficit would be above 5% in India, Philippines, and also in Thailand, putting these nations at the risk of the capital flight. This is a very serious situation for India. Definitely the government must be monitoring. Government would try to take the measures to restrict and control the capital flight. So these are the important points, and with respect to current account deficit, all these details we have discussed during the classes, and please go through those classes once. So thank you so much for being with me, and I'll see you in the next session.